Critics called Uncharted from 2022 generic. But why did audiences choose to make this film a hit? Welcome to Popcorn Programming. In today's video we'll be looking at the reasons why critics hated the 2022 Uncharted movie and why fans loved it. Maybe not loved it might be generous. Why fans really enjoyed it. So the film overall is it's a very run-of-the-mill action film. It takes some set pieces from the Uncharted games. It has the named characters. You've got Nathan Drake, you've got Sully, you've got all the other ones in there, like Elena and the other characters. They're all in there, and they're all doing their usual Uncharted things. Obviously, it comes down to what criteria they're assessing films based upon. Critics will look at one thing, fans will look at something else, and that does create some issues. And these issues, I feel, best get exemplified by looking at the Rotten Tomatoes ratings of the Uncharted film. Critics gave the Uncharted film a 41% versus the fans' 89% score. Those are both out of 100, obviously. So that 41% certifies this film as rotten on the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, and the fans' film certifies it as fresh. So, but why is there this divide? Well, in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to be looking at. Pop! So some reasons why the critics hated the Uncharted film. Well, there's 5 I've outlined. There's probably a few more, but we'll just stick with these 5 for now. So the first reason is that it felt quite generic. Critics described it as a paint-by-numbers treasure hunt movie such as Indiana Jones 3, which is Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and the National Treasure films starring Nicolas Cage. Whilst Uncharted, the first few, I guess could be considered those kind of things, it's fairly just a run-of-the-mill action game. I think Uncharted 4 does have a lot more emotion in it and a lot more character dynamics. But Uncharted 2 does have those moments present, but I feel Uncharted 4 really exemplifies those moments. And then it could be compared to Indiana Jones 3 as well. It's not even that bad a thing, because that one's really good. Generally regarded as people's favourite one. Personally, I prefer Raiders, but it's very close in between those Indiana Jones films. So it's not a terrible thing to be compared to the Indiana Jones films, but it's probably not going to stick in your mind too long, the Uncharted film. But it's enjoyable on a Saturday night. You order a takeaway, you've got your nice pizza, put it on, you're going to have a good time. Another issue that they had brings us into reason number 2, which is the casting controversy. We'll touch on Tom Holland because this is a bit less controversial, which was basically that he just looked too young to play Nathan Drake. He had the right build and stuff for it, but he did just look way too young. It was an issue that critics had. But then we bring us on to the bigger controversy of the casting, which was Mark Wahlberg being cast as Sully. The issue was that fans and critics alike just couldn't really picture, when you picture Sully from the Uncharted games, you picture a cigar-chomping, mustached Sully, who's just strolling around being quite cool, quite suave, particularly in Uncharted 4 where he's wearing the tuxedo at that thief's ball auction thing in the Italian Riviera. Beautiful, by the way, that bit, especially on PS5, really nice. He looks really cool. He looks kind of like an 80s or 90s Tom Selleck. You to picture Tom Selleck in Friends when he plays Dr. Richard Burke, especially at the episode where he's first introduced. In particular, then is kind of what Sully is supposed to be. A bit more grey, but than the brown hair that Tom Selleck had. Or Magnum P.I., I guess, is another good thing from Tom Selleck. That's kind of who Sully is similar to, in terms of if you compare an actor versus the character in the game. Mark Wahlberg doesn't really have that. No offense to Mark, he's fine. He's a fine actor. He's good in The Departed, good in The Fighter. He's quite funny in Daddy's Home. Quite funny with Will Ferrell overall, to be fair. Daddy's Home and the other guys, both good films. With Marky Mark in, he just didn't quite have that gravitas that a Sully should have. That also brings us quite nicely into reason number 3 that the critics hated it, which was the weak villain development. Critics argued that the antagonists lacked a lot of depth and they lacked a lot of presence. Basically, you had Antonio Banderas' character, and he was quite well built, he seemed quite cool, quite intimidating. You might make a quite good villain overall. but it was thoroughly underused, and all of this work around the villains and having them lack that depth, that lack that presence, and underutilizing one of the ones you did really lowers the overall tension of the film. The next reason was that the tone was quite safe. The film weaved away from the blend of the grit, the humour, and the overall genuine emotional toll that the games have, and it basically lent much more into the kind of Michael Bay light blockbuster fun that most of the run-of-the-mill action films have. If you think of things like The Rock, telling all the ones like Bad Boys, those films are good films, but they're not like super emotionally engaging. There's not really real emotional stakes. They're enjoyable times. You can have a fun time with them, but they're more lighter blockbuster fun, and that's not really what Uncharted is. Uncharted has that grit, it has the humour, it has the genuine emotional stakes that really mean you care about the characters and care about seeing them do things. And that brings us to number 5, which is that it didn't capture the magic of the games. Now, so this might be an unfair criticism, given that the film's 2 hours, 2:30 at most, in terms of what a film like this could be. If you make a TV show, it's slightly different, but whereas a game is like, 15, 16 hours, usually. In particular, the Uncharted games of 2 and 4 are praised for their storytelling abilities and basically the way they tell the characters, the development those characters go through, the stakes of the games overall. The set pieces are great. Obviously, that all gets paired together to just a really enjoyable experience, but that's spread over 16 hours or so. Whereas the film, 2 hours or so, and that copied the surface level action of those games without bringing in that emotional weight, the storytelling abilities, the character development, those sorts of things that really mean you connect with the characters, you care about the stakes, you care about what's going on, and without that, it just means nothing. It's not like a memorable experience. Again, it's not going to be a bad experience, because, action's fun to watch. It's why Michael Bay films tend to do fairly well, because it's fun to watch, it's a good time. But there's not that emotional stakes, so it's very unlikely. We'll go with Michael Bay, because he's most well known for it. But I don't feel a Michael Bay film is going to be in anybody's top 10 favourite films of all time. But if they saw it on, they're not going to actively go out of their way to turn it off. Those are all the reasons I could come up with why the critics hated the Uncharted film. So now we'll look at some of the reasons why the fans loved it. So the first one we've mentioned quite a few times, which was that it's just fun to watch. Watching an action film, watching Tom Holland go around doing action things. Like Indiana Jones, he does a lot of action, and that's all fun to watch. So again, as a Saturday evening popcorn adventure, it works. You order a pizza in, you get some mates around, you sit down together, you watch the Uncharted film, you're going to have a good time. It's not going to be like a boring experience watching it. It's going to be fun. You're going to have some laughs, you're going to have some fun, you're going to enjoy yourself. But that's, at the end of the day, all films really are about. They don't have to be this existential look on life. They don't have to all reflect upon things and make you reconsider your entire life perspective on certain topics or just the way you look at the world overall. Sometimes you just want to put a film on and have fun for a few hours. And that's what Uncharted is going to do well for you. In number 2, we have the plane crash scene that absolutely slapped. It's ripped straight from Uncharted 3, and it felt like the playable chaos of Uncharted 3 brought to life, and is really enjoyable, really well done. Tom Holland is excellent in this bit in particular. He does well throughout the whole film, but this bit in particular, he does really, really well. Reason number 3, sticking with Tom Holland, is that his physical performance, whilst he might not have looked like what fans pictured Nathan Drake as, or the critics wanted Nathan Drake to look like, he really brought that athletic energy that really made for a better, younger Nathan Drake origin. Which was the parkour, he needs the stunts, and he needs the charm, and Tom Holland has all 3 of those in spades. Reason number 4 the fans quite liked it is that it was a video game adaptation that didn't absolutely suck. After years of crap video games movies such as Doom, the Need for Speed, or the Hitman ones, having one that was fairly solid felt like real progress. Following this, we obviously, well, before this, we actually got Free Guy, which was good, and Detective Pikachu, that was also excellent. But then following this, we got the Mario Brothers movie, we've had the Last of Us TV show, there's lots of rumours about a God of War TV show that they're starting to reveal the cast for. So it feels like we're progressing in the world of video game adaptations, and Uncharted is one of those ones that is really solid. And number 5 is set up the right kind of Nathan Drake character, and the portrayal and everything you might expect from a Nathan Drake. By the end of the film, especially in the post-credit scene, as he began to really look the part of what Nathan Drake should look like. So this brings us to, where does this quintessential divide between the fans and the critics come from? And in my opinion, that comes from what they are looking for when they sit down to watch a film. What the critics look for when they are watching films and reviewing them and what have you, they are looking for, is this a good film? Does it meet these boxes that mean it is a good film? In terms of storytelling capabilities, editing, lighting, those sorts of things. But what the fans are looking for, though, is, did I have a good time watching Nathan Drake do Nathan Drake things? Because obviously they sit down, watch the Uncharted film, they know Uncharted, right? Uncharted, video game, Nathan Drake, he does these things, this is who he is. Does he do those things? And if the answer to that is yes, the fans are going to have a good time. Whereas the critics are going, is this fundamentally a well-made and put-together film? Two very, very different standards. Neither one is particularly wrong or right. It's just what you've got to consider in terms of the overall perspectives of the different films. And that then brings me to my question of the day, which is your opinion. What did you think of the Uncharted 2022 film? Did you enjoy it? If so, why? If you didn't, why? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you are new around here. That's all for now though, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Pop pop!